9 women managed to ascend the throne of Britain and rule the country by themselves. In this episode, we will compare two Elizabeths, two Bettys, a queen from the past times, Elizabeth I, and the contemporary Queen Elizabeth II. Abilities and achievements. Elizabeth I was the daughter of King Henry VIII and his second wife Anna Boleyn. She was born in 1533 at Greenwich Palace. Her birth was possibly the greatest disappointment of her father's life. He had wanted a son and heir to succeed him, and that was the reason of difficult childhood of Elizabeth. Elizabeth's adolescence was no easier than her childhood. She found her implicated in treason after the rebellion in 1554. After her father's death in 1553, Elizabeth's half-sister Mary was Queen Mary I of England. Elizabeth II's young years wasn't so difficult. The Queen was born in 1926 in London. She was the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York, who later became King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. The prince's early years were spent at 145 Piccadilly. When she was 6 years old, her parents took over Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park as their own country home. In the grounds of Royal Lodge, Princess Elizabeth had her own small house, called the Little Cottage, which was given to her by the people of Wales in 1932. When finally they ascended the throne? Elizabeth did finally succeed the throne in 1558. It was a moment of supreme triumph for the unwanted daughter who had spent her life in the shadow. Elizabeth I was determined to enjoy her newfound freedom and live life to the full. She loved all kinds of sports, especially horse riding. She also loved hunting, bear biting, and watching sport contests. She loved music, dancing, and watching plays. On Wednesday, 6 February 1952, Princess Elizabeth received the news of her father's death and her own accession to the throne while staying in Kenya. The young princess flew back to Britain as a queen. The coronation took place in Westminster Abbey in 1953. What are they famous for? Elizabeth I re-established the Protestant Church in England. She did not like the religious extremism and did not want to persecute any of her people for their religious beliefs. She also made the British Army one of the strongest in Europe. Elizabeth was really dedicated to her country and had the mind of political genius. When she died in 1603, England was one of the most powerful and prosperous countries in the world. Queen Elizabeth II is the head of state of United Kingdom and 15 other Commonwealth realms. The Queen is married to the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and has 4 children and 8 grandchildren. Her Majesty does not rule the country, but fulfills important ceremonial and formal roles with respect to the government. She is also fount of justice, head of the armed force, and has important relationships with the established churches of England and Scotland. The Queen's working day begins like many people's, at her desk. After scanning daily British newspapers, the Queen reviews her correspondence. The Queen will then see, separately, 2 of her private secretaries with a daily quota of official papers and documents. A series of official meetings and audiences will often follow. The Queen will see a number of important people. The Queen may also meet a number of people who have won prizes or awards in a variety of fields, such as literature or science, to present them individually with their prize. If there is an investiture, a ceremony for the presentation of honors and decorations, it begins at 11 a.m. In the afternoons, the Queen often goes out on public engagements. The Queen's working day doesn't stop at the end of the afternoon. Early evening may see a meeting with the Prime Minister. At about 7:30 p.m., a report of the day's parliamentary proceedings arrives. On some evenings, the Queen may attempt to film premiere a variety of concert performances in aid of charitable cause. The Queen also regularly hosts official receptions at Buckingham Palace. Elizabeth I and Elizabeth II, past and present icons of British monarchy, women of merit, both respected and worshipped by their subjects and young generations.